Good morning, church. Let's talk about 1 Peter chapter 3. In this chapter, Peter's talking directly to husbands and wives to begin with. And he's got very specific things that he says to each of them, but his point is that we should always be serving one another in humility. We should put ourselves below the opposite partner in our relationship. Wives always serving, helping, giving ourselves to their husbands. Husbands always laying down our own desires, our own life, that she might be made to be more pure like Christ, as it says in Ephesians. But then he goes on to continue immediately into talking about suffering. And he's using husbands and wives as an example of what it looks like to bear up under suffering that's caused by being in relationship with others. Being in the world, being around other people means being in pain. It's just the way we are because everybody sins against you. Your spouse, your kids, your friends, your pastors, your boss, your co-workers, the guy on Highway 280. Everyone is looking to put themselves ahead of you at some point in your life. And it would be easy to spend our whole lives in bitterness and say, I'm just going to close myself off from these people. Or it would be easy to then counter by becoming better and better at putting myself before you. That's the way of the world. The world says, I'm going to push back against the people who cause me to suffer. I'm going to separate them from us so that we can be safe from them. Or it says, I'm going to become stronger. I'm going to find my own Goliath to fight my battles for me. I'm going to get somebody on my team who will make sure I don't lose and really take it to the other guy. That's the way of the world. That's the way that leads to divorce in marriage, when one tries to seek himself or herself over the other. That's the way in a co-worker relationship where one is destroyed and left behind as the other succeeds and becomes wealthier and wealthier. That is not the way of the kingdom of God. The way of the kingdom of God is to turn the other cheek, to bear up under suffering, and to pour out love in response, because that's what Jesus did. In verse 18 he says, Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the Spirit. Jesus died while we were yet sinners, as Romans says. Yet we're not willing to bear up when our spouse says something hurtful to us. Jesus was crucified, separated from God. Yet we need to seek political power over those who disagree with us philosophically about democracy. Instead, pour out love. Bear up under the suffering so that they might see God shine through you. That is who Jesus was. That is who we're called to be.